In today's video lesson, we're going to be looking at division word problems. Again, this is a worksheet that I've asked you to do. If you get stuck on it, you can always send me a note in forum and I can help you with it, or you can watch this video. This one deals with division word problems. Remember, division is repeated subtraction. So for when we're looking at division, some of the words we might look at are quotient of, per, ratio of, divided by, half, divisor, divided into, percent, or split up. Those are some of the words. Let's look at the first problem under division word problems. It says Jessica has 60 books and she's read 6 of them. Mary has 1 times more books than Jessica. How many dozen books does Mary have? When you talk about 1 time more, it's just the same number. I don't know why they put it like that. But we're looking at how many dozens of books does Mary have. So here we have to take our knowledge of English to figure out how to solve this problem. We know that Mary has 60 books because she has the same number as Jessica. But we want to know how many dozens. So we have to know that there are 12 in a dozen. So we want to know how many groups of 12 books does Mary have. And 60 divided by 12 is 5. So Mary has 5 dozen books. Let's look at the second problem. Mike has 12 blue marbles. Dan has 1 times more blue marbles. Again, he has 12. How many dozen blue marbles does Dan have? Again, our knowledge of dozen will come into play. 12 divided by 12 equals 1. So he has 1 dozen blue marbles. Our third problem has Alyssa, Jason, Keith, and Mary. They each have 72 Pokemon cards. How many Pokemon cards do they have in all? Now this says it's a division word problem sheet, but here, instead of dividing, we are going to first multiply and then divide by 12. So it's actually a 2-step problem. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 people that each have 72. So we can take 72, multiply that times 4. We have 288 cards. We are going to divide those 288 cards by 12 to find out how many dozen. When we do the division, we see that there are 24 dozen Pokemon cards. So that one was a little bit trickier because you had to do 2 steps. Let's look at the fourth one. Alyssa saw 12 birds and 1 rabbit on her field trip. How many dozen birds did she see? She saw 12 birds. We don't care about the bunny rabbit. We want to know how many dozens. Again, we're dividing by 12. 12 divided by 12 again is 1 dozen birds that she saw. Problem number 5. There are 29 children in a classroom, and each student has 84 pencils. How many dozen pencils are there in all? Now this one we can look at it a couple of different ways. We can figure out how many dozens there are. If each student has 84, we could look at it and say 84 divided by 12 is going to give me 7 dozen pencils per student. And then we could take the 29 children and multiply that by 7 to find out how many dozens we have in total. 9 times 7 is 63. Carry the 6. 2 times 7 is 14 plus 6. We would have 203 dozen pencils. That's one way that we could do that problem. Or we could have multiplied 84 times 29. 4 times 9 is 36. 8 times 9 is 72. Plus 3 is 75. 2 times 4 is 8. 2 times 8 is 16. We're going to add 13, 14. So we have 2,436 pencils in that class. And then we would have to divide that by 12. 12 goes into 24 twice. 12 goes into 3 0 times. 12 goes into 36 3 times. And again, we would get the same number, 203 dozen. You could solve that either way, your choice. Let's look at problem number 6. Sandy earns $25 for each house she cleans. If she cleans 48 houses, how many dozens of dollars will she make? So we could take the $25 times 48 houses and then divide it by 12, or we could say 48 divided by 12 is 4, and then multiply that 4 times 25. But let's take the 25, multiply it by the 48. 25, sorry, I moved that up too much, times 48 to find out how much money she makes. So she has $1,200. How many dozens? 1,200 divided by 12 is 100 dozen dollars. It's kind of a strange problem, but we'll go with it. Number 7, Alyssa saved 15 bucks from washing cars. How many dozen quarters does Alyssa have? So here it's a two-step problem, boys and girls. We need to figure out if she has $15, how many quarters does she have? So you have to use your knowledge, previous knowledge about money. And you know that there are 4 quarters in a dollar. So we're going to take that $15. We're going to multiply it by 4 to find out how many quarters she has. She would have 60 quarters if she had $15 worth of quarters. And then it asked us how many dozen quarters she has. So we're going to say 60 divided by 12 would give her 5 dozen quarters. All right, problem number 8. Alyssa has 168 golf balls and 10 are used. How many dozen golf balls does she have? We don't care if the golf balls are used or not. We just want to know how many dozen. So we're going to take that 168. We're going to divide it by 12. 12 goes into 16 once. 12 goes into 48 4 times. So she has 14 dozen golf balls, and that was problem number 8. Problem number 9 says there are 60 calories in a candy bar. Keith ate 1 candy bar. How many dozen candy bars are there in 29 candy bars? So we don't really care anything about how much Keith ate. We just want to know how many dozen calories there are in 29 candy bars. So we could take 29 and multiply it by 60 and get 1,740, and then we could divide that by the 12. We would have 145 dozen calories. Or we also could have said, take that 60, divide it by 12. We would have gotten 5, and we could have said 29 times 5. 9 times 5 is 45. Again, we would have gotten the 145 dozen. Either way works. And look at number 10. Jason bought 12 eggs from the store to bake some cakes. He plans to bake the cakes over a day. How many dozen eggs did he buy? He bought 12 eggs. divided by 12, he bought 1 dozen eggs, and that was problem number 10. So if you have any questions, make sure you post it to forum, and hopefully you did a good job on this.